It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Man, it is crazy that summer is coming to an end. I looked at the calendar right before I started speaking there. And I was like, it's August 4th when I'm recording this. Comes out on August 5th. Happy birthday, Tyler, by the way. And I was just like, man, today I was at the pool and I was talking to my brother-in-law, Patrick, and he was mentioning the fact that his boys go back to school in a week and a half. A week and a half. Summer's gone. Oh my goodness. What a bummer. So that's here. That's real. I hope your summer has been great. Let's squeeze out the most of it we can for these last couple of weeks. There's been football. Football's been played. Football's back. That kind of signifies to me the end of it. It's just like right now we've got a lot going on for me. I love the Olympics, and I can smell the end of the Olympics, which is a bummer. It doesn't smell like the river the triathlon people don't want to swim in. It smells like sadness because I love them. And so I'm bummed that coming up, next week, I won't be able to just turn on Peacock and have a plethora of games to be disappointed with. We're going to talk Olympics here in just a second. Summer's coming to an end. The weekend, now I'm at this point in life where I'm back in the working world where the end of the weekend stinks, right? Oh, I do have something fun coming up this week that I am looking forward to. But first, we thank the patrons of the Sean Widmer Podcast, patreon.com/Sean Widmer Podcast. Thank you to everybody who has supported the podcast. If you enjoy it, if you want to be part of the trivia on Tuesdays, and if this podcast is worth supporting to you, I appreciate that. Thank you so much for keeping the lights on here. We then follow up. We kick the podcast off every episode now with any 5-star reviews on iTunes. None. We got none. Nothing. So we get to move forward. Where do I want to start? I've got some stuff on the kids, but I think I want to start with the fact this week my mom and dad are coming to visit. I'm very excited about that. I don't know how that's going to affect the recording schedule. We may not have a podcast Wednesday or Friday just because we're going to be doing stuff. And my parents will stay in the basement, which is right out that door right there. And I don't want to just be sitting in here screaming at a microphone while they try to catch up on some sleep. But I'm very excited about it. My daughter is so excited. I do need school to come back for her because I'm going to need to talk to a teacher about teaching my daughter how to count down to something getting here. Because trying to explain to my daughter every day for the last week, when my parents come, there will be 5 more sleeps. There will be 4 more sleeps. So it's tomorrow? No, there will be 4 more sleeps. So when I wake up, okay, there will be 4 more. So like in a year, hey, look, teachers, that looks bad on you. I know you can come at me and say, well, that's on you, Dad. No, it's not. I'm not teaching my kid math, all right? I didn't sign up for that. I'm teaching her other things, like how to eat an airhead properly, but I'm not teaching her math. So that one's on you, school system. We've got to get better at it. It drives me crazy. And so tonight, as I'm laying her down for bed, and she's so excited because she thinks Gramps and Graham are coming tomorrow because I told her there's 2 more sleeps. And in her head, 2 more sleeps apparently is tomorrow morning. And so she's going to wake up disappointed. But the nice thing is, the next time she wakes up after that, see, I know how to count down. They're going to be here. So we're real excited for it here. Very, very excited for it. I was chuckling today because we had a week of my son really pushing buttons in the house. And he's a wild animal. He's a wild animal. He does wild animal stuff. He likes to do bad things. He doesn't listen. He's crazy, and I love him to death. And one of the things he loves to do is take this ottoman that we have. This is like this padded ottoman that we have, and he likes to set it up just far enough away from the couch that every time he jumps, he doesn't know if he's going to make it or not. And most of the time he does, and a couple times he doesn't. And then, of course, as he's jumping, he's just slowly inching the ottoman further and further away from the couch. So the jump becomes more difficult, but he doesn't think it is. Then it always leads to him mistiming a jump, slipping off the ottoman or something, and busting his legs, his knees, his head, his arms, busting something up, and it ends in crying. He is a daredevil on the couch. Our couch does not butt up against our wall. There's a walkway behind our couch in our living room, and he loves to climb up on the cushions. We tell him a million times, Huck, don't do that. And he teeters on death, falling off the backside of that every single day. And it drives my wife insane. And I feel very bad about this because there are a lot of things I realize as a parent your kids get from you. It's kind of like genetically. I don't understand how genetics work, but I see things my kids do and I go, ooh, that's how I was as a kid. And I think my wife sees it sometimes where she sees it and goes, ooh, that's how I was as a kid. And unfortunately for my wife, I was prone to do stupid stuff. I think about growing up and doing some of the things that we did, and then even into adulthood, right? I would immediately point to in the last couple of years, like stupid decisions I make. If you're in Spokane and you're floating down the Spokane River from Peaceful Valley to the Bowl and Pitcher, a beautiful river float on the Spokane River, one of my favorite things to do in Spokane. I missed it dearly this summer. Oh, I missed it so dearly. But that float goes underneath an old bridge, and it looks like it's an old train bridge. Not the band, but the actual vehicle. And it's all dilapidated and taken apart. So there's no structure on it anymore. It's just the skeletal bridge. And it's right over the river, and it's at a part of the river that's deep. And so you can jump off this bridge that's probably 20, 25 feet off the water, and you can jump into the river, and it's very fun. But to get to that jumping spot, you have to risk your life because you have to climb up a tree that's been pushed over against the stanchion, the cement wall, and you have to climb up onto beams because that's all that's left. And you have to shimmy or walk across these beams that are 20, 25 feet in the air with nothing but the rocks below you on the riverbed, big old rocks. It's not going to go well if you fall off these things. And I love doing that. I love like feeling the adrenaline of death, which is so stupid to say, but I love doing that jump and getting there and feeling the fear, the maximum fear every time I'm crossing that bridge or getting to that bridge, feeling that fear until you're over the water and you feel like, okay, if I fall off now, at least I'm falling in the water. So it might hurt, but I'm going to fall in the water. And I love doing that stuff. And I can see it in my son's eyes as you pass things down to your kids. And I can just see that we have got a long road with him. Now, the good news is he's also very whiny at times. And so a lot of times when he has a chance to put himself in danger, he's distracted because he's so frustrated that a toy that he has in another room didn't magically appear in his lap. But it's fun. Parenting's crazy. And watching your kids get into things that you liked, it's kind of fun. It's a fun experience, but man, it's hectic. And we've added the little tiny one who has finally started to get a bit of not a personality. He's 4 weeks old, but he's started to get a little bit of some emotions on his face. So he's kind of starting to want to smile. He can tell when something's happening and he wants to react to it instead of just being scared. He kind of wants to react to some things like, "Ooh, that's kind of funny. That's kind of funny, Mom. You tickled my cheek. That's kind of silly. Let me chuckle for you." And then, of course, my daughter saw it, and she wanted to tickle his cheek, and instead it looked more like a Darth Vader chokehold. It was not as gentle as you're hoping for. Also, my son now has started, because he wants attention, he's now started to attack the baby, which is not going to go well for him. He, as much as my wife gets mad at him jumping from an ottoman to a couch. And look, part of this is on my wife. You bought things. My wife has made a house that looks really cool. It looks magazine worthy in a lot of sense, but it doesn't look like a house you probably have with a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 0-year-old. Like we have a 2-year-old who wants to eat spaghetti with meat sauce, and we have a white, it's not white, but it's like a off-white couch cover. That's not. You shouldn't have any kind of close to white anything in your living room until all your kids are out of the house. That's like a 65 plus, and then the grandkids are going to ruin it. Maybe the white, off-white color, it's all before you have a family. That's when you get that out of your system. But to have anything white in your living room you want to keep clean with a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a baby, that one might be on my wife. That one might be on my wife. What was I saying, though? As rewind time. I don't remember what it was. As much as my wife gets frustrated at my son, is that what I was going to say? It was going to be great. It was going to be profound. And I've lost it because I got caught up in the white couch that just really is a hilarious enigma to me. If it comes back to me, we'll get it. I almost feel like I need to pause. I want to find out what it was. Hang on. I'm going to do unprofessionalism. We're going to find out what the heck it was I was talking about. Look at that. Unprofessionalism at its finest. A little reset of the brain has got me back to where we were. I was mentioning the fact that as much as it drives my wife crazy that Huck jumps from the ottoman to the couch, even though she's told him a million times not to, she's not going to threaten his life with that. The next time he decides to rear back and throw a Hot Wheels car off the top of my other son's head, the 4-week-old's head, that's your life officially on the line. Not a, that's not like a fun saying like, oh, your life's on the line. Oh, that's that's an analogy to you're in trouble. No, your life, Huck, the real life you have is on the line if you throw another Hot Wheels car off your brother's head. And it seems like it's been very decently explained by my wife in a patient way. But when you go back to the well 3 or 4 times, the patience starts to wear a little bit. And, Huck, you might lose a couple arms. That's not going to be the best look for you. Before, I guess Kelly's What Are You Into? We'll go back to something with my kids. I wanted to talk about the Olympics thing. 2 things in the Olympics I wanted to talk about. Sha'Carri Richardson, I was cheering for her to win the 100 meter. I was bummed. I wanted America to win the 100 meter in men's and women's. Of course, when Sha'Carri, when she run, potato, when she ran, we had not seen the U.S. win gold in the 100 meter, which was an unbelievably crazy photo finish. Wild race. Go watch that. Go watch the men's 100 meters. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the announcer declares the Jamaican as the winner. And then they go back and watch, and it's like, yo, Lyles leans in. He leans. He got the lean. Is he leaning? If you haven't watched While You Were Sleeping, watch it. But we didn't know U.S. had won that. I wanted U.S. to sweep the 100 meters. You want to have the fastest person in the world from your country, and I guess my observation from that was that girl who won it was from St. Lucia. She was not having Sha'Carri. She was not having her. That was not the thing. She kind of dabbed up a couple other people, gave some hugs, and she did embrace Richardson later. But right off the bat, that was the most serious middle finger towards her. I felt like it was just not. She was not having it. So props to her. Props to the gal who won the 100 meter. Very cool. You are the fastest lady in the world. That's an awesome title to have. And I wish we would have gone through it. So I'm enjoying some track and field. My wife and I watched some on Friday night. We had a good time watching it. I watched some swimming. We watched some swimming last night, and I still can't imagine swimming as much as they swim. We watched the 800 meter. I think my buddy Mike had watched the 1500 meter. Last night we watched the 800 meter, and he was like, the 1500 took forever. 800 meters, they swim it in, I forget what the time was, but it's there and back 16 times. I think that's what it is. It's down. Yeah, down. It's 50 meters 16 times. You guys, it's there and back 8 times. Whatever. It's a long race. We were talking about how long would that take us just to do. Okay, and you can take breaks. Swim down 50 meters. Swim back 50 meters. You can stop and hold on the wall as long as you want. You can swim however you want. How long would that take me? 30 minutes? 20 minutes? What's the record? What's Katie Ledecky's record? 800 meter swim world record. Let's see what it is. 7:32 for the men, but I want women's because that's Ledecky. And it is for the freestyle 8 minutes 11 seconds. It would probably take me 20 minutes. That's a real number. Probably take me 20 minutes to do. They're insane. I have to vent about this though. I understand Jimmer Fredette was out for Team USA's 3-on-3. I understand this. He announced after the tournament, or after the U.S. got eliminated, he completely tore 2 ligaments in his hip. You can't play. Okay, so I get it that he's out, and that changes your entire approach to the 3-on-3 weekend. But it doesn't change the fact that we had bad guys playing. Cannonberry was great. When he had 50-some points, maybe 60-some points in the tournament, he was great. Maddox and Travis. Dylan Travis, I still don't know Maddox' first name. 3-on-3 USA Maddox. His name is Kareem Maddox. Kareem Maddox, Dylan Tyler. Whoo, man, you guys stink. You guys stink booty cheeks. Holy smokes. That's the best we could send out. We got to do better than that next time. We got to do better. I truly, and I'm 42. I know I'm old. I don't need, hang on. Okay, never mind. Wait, hang on. I'm getting some text here that I had to address real quick. I'm 42. I'm old. I don't know that I need a 34-year-old on the team. Kareem Maddox, 34. I think Jimmer is really old as well. Let's see how old Jimmer is. Jimmer might be older. Jimmer's 35. I don't need a 35-year-old, 34-year-old. I don't need that. Unless they're huge. We talked about it on the podcast the other day. We need to be bigger, and we need to be better. Dylan Tyler was terrible. And I get it that these guys are better than me in basketball. I understand that, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying we're sending Olympians out, right? We're sending Olympians out. I would get beat in the 100-meter. Believe it or not, guys, I would get beat in the 100-meter. But if we're consistently losing the 100-meter by a ton, we got to send better people out to the 100-meter. We got spanked 21-6 today in basketball. And I get it, the Jimmer Fredette's out. So you're very tired, and that's going to lead to your team not being as good. I do not expect you to win a medal, but 21-6? 21-6, Kareem Maddox is missing layups. Dylan Travis can't figure out how the shot clock works for an entire week? Can't figure it out? Like ball hog syndrome in 3-on-3 at a professional level? What's going on there? Our team was really bad. So what I would promote, and this kind of leads to a little bit of some sports stuff here for you, but some stuff I'm excited about. I'm ready for the collegiate athletes to really emerge more into my life now that they're getting paid. All right, now that they're NIL, now that they're making big bucks, we should be sending the best college players to this 3-on-3. That's if NBA guys don't want to play in it, and if the best G League guys don't want to play in it, because that's the order that it should go. NBA guys should get offered this 3-on-3 spot first. If they take it, they're in. Then it should go to G League guys, developmental league for the NBA. They need to have it. Canyon Berry was on a G League team. I don't know. Maybe Kareem Maddox and Dylan Tyler are on G League teams. And if they are, then I retract this and we skip the G League altogether. I'm looking right now at the Kareem Maddox's USA basketball notes, professional notes. He completed 2 seasons professionally in the Netherlands, who kicked his butt, 21-6, and in the United Kingdom. He was runner-up for league MVP honors following a 3-year hiatus during which he worked for NPR member stations in the USA. Maddox returned to play in Poland for a season. So he's an overseas guy, and he's not playing basketball. Canyon Berry is not playing basketball anywhere right now. He is a nuclear scientist of some kind. Give me college basketball players, pay them a bunch of money to play, and give me the best ones, and let's send our best players to play 3-on-3. I'm ready for this NIL to be utilized. We're going to get spoiled rotten at the end of the college football season with this 12-team playoff. We're going to get spoiled rotten. Playing the college football video game, seeing how when the tournament comes up, and you see like what we're going to see in reality this year, it's going to be the best thing ever. 4 games for the first round to sneak in to play these teams that have a bye. 4 games in the second week. 8 teams, and then we cut it down to 4, and then it'll be the semifinal 2 teams, and then championship. It looks so good when you're playing the video game. It's only going to be better in real life. So I bring that up to say I'm going to need those guys to start getting paid more for their bowl wins. I'm going to need the college thing. If we're going to go, let's pay the players. We just need to go all in. There's college basketball tournaments preseason where winning teams are going to get paid money. Those kids are going to be playing their butts off to win the money in these preseason tournaments. It means March Madness needs to pay the players, so everyone stays, everyone plays hard. And the bowl games, they need to pay winners because I want maximum effort from these guys. I want them to have the reason they skip it, money. The reason people skip these bowl games, money. I need them to have that incentive to play these bowl games. And I need them to have that incentive to play in these 3-on-3 teams because we need to be the best at basketball. We need to be the best at basketball. Whew, where'd that come from?
Kelly's, what are you into?
The heck was that? I am into a little shopping experience with my daughter. And it's a store that I love and a store that I wish I was better at. Michaels/Hobby Lobby. I understand they're two different places, but the arts and crafts store, the big ones, I stinking love them. And I had a moment this week and I needed to go get something, not for anything cool, for my dumb video or my dumb board game I play with Mike. And I needed to get a box to hold some of the pieces of the game. So I went to get it. I told my daughter she was going to come with me. She goes, I absolutely do not want to go shopping with you. I said, well, unfortunately, you have to. I was just tricking you when I said, hey, you should come to the store with me. You want to come? It's going to be so much fun. What that actually meant was you have to come with me now. I'm your dad, and we need to get you out of this house. And it always backfires because they say no. And now it's like, well, you don't get an option. They're like, well, why did you ask me? And it's like, yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole parenting thing. Don't challenge it. So I asked her to go to Michael's. She says no. We get in the truck. She's whining the whole way. We walked into Michael's, and this girl was like, Dad, can we stay here? No joke. Your dad knows a little bit about you. She walked down every single aisle in Michael's, every one of them. Found multiple things in every aisle. I mean, we're talking the fabrics aisle, right? Where there's nothing really she can do. It's just big old rolls of fabric. She's finding fabrics that she's just in love with. We could make Bunny a nightgown with this. No, we couldn't. But I get what you're saying. We could make a really bad one, yeah. And just going through every aisle. And the employees are like starting to follow her because they're loving her energy and passion. They hate, they're working and an 8-hour shift. They're so sick of their store, and Olivia is re-injecting passion. You walk down an aisle, you see this 19-year-old girl who's had the longest day of her life and hates life and is actually trying to hide in this aisle so that no one finds her. And you walk into the aisle, and she sees us and is like, oh, dang it, customers. And then she sees the joy that Olivia has, and this girl was like, this is the best place to work ever. You should work here when you grow up, little girl. Like Olivia just reinvigorated the entire store. It was great. I loved it. And every time I go to Hobby Lobby, I walk through it and I think, what kind of cool thing could I add to our house that would make it onto a Facebook reel that blows up? Right? Oh, man makes his wife the greatest invention of all time. And he redoes a cutting board into 4 things. He adds 4 things to a cutting board no one's ever asked for or is ever going to use. But it's, $4 million or 4 million view TikTok. Right? A guy's like, oh, add this extended table, fold out table to the island in your kitchen. It's like, yeah. And it's like 4 simple steps. You're like, yeah, absolutely. And step 1 is prep. And prep is when they do everything. And it looks like about 30 hours of work. Then he's like, step 2, take the prep table and screw it into the island. You're like, well, yeah, I know how to do that part. I was kind of worried about everything leading up to it. Step number 2, bend the table up. Okay. Step 3, lock in these legs that you had made. Okay. Step 4, enjoy. It's like, well, 4 steps. What are you talking about? Step 1, you didn't show me how you made it, but then it has all these views. And then you go to the comments and every comment is the same where they say, can't believe I wasted 1.5 minutes of my time. That's 1 minute. That's 2 minutes I can't get back. Every comment all the way down is the same. And I've watched the same 2 minutes, and then I spent 3 more minutes reading your comments. But I love Michael's. I love a craft store. And I want to take a day, when I have a day with just my daughter who loves arts and crafts, then I want to go in there and say, look, what do you want to make? Let's try to figure it out. And let her just walk through that store for 20 minutes, finds something she really wants. I know the answer is going to be slime, but let's pray it's not slime. And she finds something else she really wants to try. And we paint one of those little treasure chests they make, a jewelry box that they make. You know, we get a big piece of construction paper and draw on it, whatever it might be, to put it on her door. I just want to go in there and let her have at it. Because I'd be so curious of what that girl who fell in love with these craft stores, what she would make there. Okay, this podcast has gone way too long. It's no longer Tyler's birthday. And I got to work in a couple hours. Oh my gosh. Let's read some comments. You can comment over at seanslife.com like nobody did. So we have no comments there today. seanslife.com is a big comment box on it. Comments, questions, concerns. If you want to promote something, if you want to take someone out at the knees, you want to use this as the I saw yous from the Inlander, that's great. Would love to have you here. seanslife.com. You can also comment on Spotify, as Ian did. He said, woohoo, comments are back with 500 character limits. Yes. All right, get on it. And Yvonne said this, wish we could have heard Rob. Hopefully he will call back and do a long podcast on Patreon. I agree. Rob owes me a Patreon podcast. He said he's actually going to do it. We're going to get that in the books. It's funny, tonight I was supposed to record with Jack Ferris, Rob Sacre's other half in their podcast they do. He was like, let me read what Jack said exactly. I texted Jack earlier this afternoon, and I said, are you still on your boys' trip or home today? He said, home tonight. I said, would you feel the 15-minute podcast call? And he said, of course. Well, at 6 o'clock his time, I sent a message that said, when could you field this call? And then at 8 o'clock, I just sent ... and I've received nothing. And so he disappeared. Of course. All right. That's it for the comments. Nothing on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great beginning of the week. Trivia tomorrow. For those of you who enjoy it over on the Patreon, good luck tomorrow with the trivia. It will be there. If you are not a Patreon member, you can kind of sneak a little bit. The first 5 minutes of a Patreon post we put live on there, so you can get into the trivia just a little bit. You won't get all of it, but you'll get maybe a round. All right. Check that out tomorrow. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.